jerk off anymore.
Oh, he hasn't done it for years.
I don't.
But I mean, after I masturbate, like especially like with the shit I be watching, I'm like, ugh, turn it off, like disgusted with myself a little bit.
How long has it been now?
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine, even as an adult entertainer, even as someone perpetuating and procuring the content for the kind of industry she works in, she herself is, goes through that kind of reflex of disgust. Disgust is such a powerful reflex, and it really should tell you dividends about the kind of innate emotional reaction you have to yourself once you're doing that, because your prefrontal cortex shuts off. Your logical, your rational mind goes away when you're taken over by these moments of lust, of desire, and it's really telling about the spiritual damage that you are inflicting upon yourself once you entertain this kind of material in your life.
It's been more than a year. I haven't watched porn.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You haven't
That's
what?
really cool.
No
Watch
porn
or no jerking?
Both.
No porn or no drinking?
Both. Jerking.
Oh, jerky.
Yeah, no, I've had some
Why do
drinks.
you,
I've had
why do you
some
do
drinks.
that though?
I was like,
I feel like you do that just to tell
you don't
people
have to
you
jerk
do
off to
it.
be friends, but if you have to drink for weed.
No, yeah, I'll have a drink.
Okay.
No, I mean, why did I do it?
Yeah.
Just mental clarity. I just feel like I found myself trying
Were
to
you
find
like
it.
really into it?
Not like really into it, but I just did it more than I probably
Define
should.
really. Define really.
I mean, like I could do it a few times a day. Just say what
A
it
few
is.
times a day?
Yeah.
Okay, you were
Yeah, a few times a day is a major problem. What's interesting that Bradley says his respects to the benefits that most men will grasp very, very quickly once they rid themselves of this kind of material in their life and go through a period of abstinence, is that clarity of cognition that you have. And this is a consequence of your rewiring your neurochemistry, your dopamine centers. I think he discusses in a moment about the peaks and valleys that you may experience in respects to novel pleasures in life being replenished and being healed once you're off this kind of material. So I won't interrupt.
You were really into it, Micah, because like that's a lot. Like I'm sorry, that's actually yeah.
Yeah, so I stopped. I was like, I need it.
Did you ever watch me before?
It'd be cap if I said no. Yeah, it'd be
But
cap.
you don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
someday.
have. Yeah, I feel you.
Why, were you starting to go down like a dark hole or?
No, it was more so just like it just.
I mean, dude, 3-4 times a day,
Just
like
save
that gets
time,
in the
right?
way of your productivity.
I just wanted mental clarity because it's also like I didn't want to like try to get that. You're trying to get that like release.
How do you
find it
feel
in other
now?
ways.
You feel
great.
clarified or whatever?
Yeah,
I feel better, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Because you have less moments of like ups and downs and less
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm looking for this, trying to find
Yeah.
this, and I
Do you
think
think that you ever will again?
no.
Yeah, that's substantial. One of the things you have to remember is that you condition your neurology, your dopamine centers, your endocrinology to some of the stimuluses externally. And once you do that, you have a reference point for how you're going to perceive pleasure in novel things in your life. So one of the things that I'm very, very vocal about promoting in respects to ridding yourself of this habit is that don't worry, you don't get rid of pleasure in your life. Instead, you learn how to have a healthy relationship with dopamine. So you find pleasure in more novel things, in going out and having a walk, right? I know it sounds trite. I know it sounds cliche, but this is real. One of the substantial things that's a continuity in a lot of men that get rid of this habit is music. They find so much pleasure in music. They find they're so much more receptive and impacted. And music in itself is more effective at creating higher emotions, higher moods, and dancing as well. Apparently, I'm dancing like crazy by myself when I'm listening to a good record or a good album. And I think it's just because my body has found that sensitivity, that equilibrium, that balance fundamentally in how you were supposed to live anyway. Pornography is a super stimuli. This is what you have to remember, guys. Its effects on the brain is similar to that of Class A drugs like cocaine and heroin. So you have to ask yourselves, are you comfortable with having those kind of substances from the convenience of your pocket? And you can talk about the ramifications this has on young children as well, especially if they're getting access to their smartphones at 10, 11, 12 years old. So we really have to move in a more positive and holistic and healthy direction in respects to understanding the neurological consequences that happen when you expose yourself to this material more often than not. And like he's saying, 3, 4, 5 times a day is cataclysmic. It has a cataclysmic effect on your productivity, your ability to go and update your resume, your CV, so you're able to compete with other people in the workplace. I really do believe that this presence, this material has an effect on every single facet of your life. And many of you may be naive or turning a blind eye or ignorant to the fact of how damning it can really be.
Yeah, I think that's honestly so commendable.
He fucks a lot though. That's why.
Yeah,
But that's great.
I have a girl
That's
now,
great.
so it's like, it's a little different.
Just quickly, apologies for pausing the video, but one of the things that she's saying is, well, one of the things that he's noting as well is once you get that insight, once you actually experience, you can have novel pleasure in some small things like walking in the park. It makes no sense to go back. You look at these people who are watching this material, like drug addicts on the streets and homeless people who have just ruined their lives in that chase for pleasure, fundamentally. So, it really is noted. Once you do get over that hurdle, it's very, very easy to maintain that kind of lifestyle.
Different, but
Yeah, I mean, he's in
That
a
girl,
relationship.
now
like,
she's got to
healthy.
take it 3 or 4 times a day, though.
That's
So
great.
that's not fair to her.
Listen, I love that for
she's
her.
like, Brad, can you just jerk off?
and I'm sure she loves, and I'm sure she probably really likes that you don't jerk off. And like all of your orgasms belong to her. Like,
So just a quick point on this one. I don't care. Here's the way you have to think about it. Does your wife, does the mother of your children really tolerate this kind of behavior? I really believe it has a psychic, and I mentioned a spiritual effect on your whole being, on how you experience the world. If you are making love, I mean, maybe making love is too far of a stretch. If you're fucking virtual women, your neurology doesn't know the difference between a virtual woman and a real woman. And if you're making love to these, a harem, I believe you call it, of women multiple times a day, then you're really tricking yourself, and you're psychologically and psychically poisoning yourself in that manner. And your wife, your woman, the individual in your life that you're going to share, a family together, is not going to tolerate that kind of, psychic, lower energetic resonance. You're resonating on a very, very low energetic level around shame, around apathy, around guilt. These are some of the, and I mentioned disgust earlier. She's going to feel disgust, which is some of the lowest human emotions you can experience in this 3D world. So it's a tangible fact that you need to be considering when you're ridding yourself of this habit is for the future of your family, your wife, and your children.
the only time that you come, it's because of her.
Yeah,
So I'm sure she
yeah,
loves
that's
that.
actually, whoa,
Like,
that's great.
Yeah, I think that's fucking epic. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
I think every guy. No, you know what? Then I wouldn't make any money. So
Yeah, no.
keep jerking off, please.
Showed a real cards at the end there. I think it's really important for me to say that you can see a lot of sincerity in what she's saying there in respects to our friend Bradley's efforts there, and I think that really comes from a perspective of very emotive, empathic, human perspective. Obviously, she's psychologically damaged, and I don't believe that she, if could have picked a life for herself, would continue down this vein, because she's showing her, her true colors, her ego, her sense of identity in the world at the end there. But you can kind of see a peek behind the curtains in respects to her humanness, because it is, as she mentioned at the start, as she prefaced, there is a disgust reflex that we all have to this kind of material. And whenever we see somebody making a conscious effort to remove something that has been a crutch for them in their life, of course, we have a very, very natural, empathic reflex to that, because it's very, very wholesome, and it's what we fundamentally want from a spiritual perspective. And I thought it was very interesting to see that kind of reaction from that particular adult entertainer there. And it's something to deeply, deeply meditate on, that even the individuals that perpetuate this kind of content in our world today, I think it's really a diagnosis or a symptom of the world we live in today, which is very, very pleasure oriented, that these individuals exist. But fundamentally, when you get beneath the Maya and the matrix and the illusion and the tangible, egoic, material nature of the world, we fundamentally recognize that to be whole, pleasure and joy fundamentally comes from within. No external thing is going to be able to satisfy that. And with that, good meditation to sit with this evening. Take care, gents.